Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, joined once again by Kevin Graham, and we are witnessing at half time here, Kevin, the unravelling of Neil Lennon's managerial career at Celtic.
Nothing's worked. I says before the game, it felt like we were walking into a fridge and the door was shutting behind us, but that door's well and truly shut. We've got so much attacking option on that field and we've done none. There's absolutely nothing happening. It's an absolute dog's dinner of a game. Even to go, we're maybe unlucky to go and 1-0 down because Aberdeen have done nothing either, but nothing's worked. Nothing looks like working. The only positive, and there's no positives you can actually take for it, Ryan Christie's been the only one that seems to have had any sort of noticeable effort whatsoever. Moy, Rogic haven't worked up top. Ayete's frustrated. Ayer and Duffy haven't had nothing really today. Frimpong struggled to get past Johnny Hayes. Laxalt's, he's not doing as well as what he has been doing. And my Cham and McGregor have been keeping everything tidy, everything safe passes, but Cham was sold with Ferguson there for the penalty kick. It's clumsy, but Ferguson's bought it. But it is a penalty kick.
100% penalty kick.
No arguments there, It's just...
Listen, Kevin, you're watching that and it lacks so much imagination. It's unbelievable. We started off, as I say, we just got as many creative players as we could to pack out the midfield. Some of them don't even know what they're meant to be doing by the looks of it. You've got, at the beginning of the game, El Yunusi and Rogic in the same area of the pitch. El Yunusi's had plenty of the ball, created nothing from it. Rogic has been a passenger in the first half. Ayete's hardly kicked a ball. I'm always reluctant to criticise strikers sometimes in situations like that because they're not getting the ball. So you could run about all day. However, he's up there on his own. He really is. So just before the penalty kick, and I agree with you with regards to Cham and McGregor, I thought that when you look at what they had done and what they had contributed in the first half, it was good. It was a fine display where Christie doing all the running left and right. Once again, the only real creative force in Celtic's team. Laxalt hadn't played badly, I don't think. Didn't have much of the ball again, though. A lot of it was down the right. And Frimpong, as you say, wasn't having a great kind of deal of output in terms of getting past his man. That team is disjointed. It's lacking imagination. It's lacking creativity. And what's happened to us is one of the messages that are coming into Ken Walsh. It comes down to one man as far as I'm concerned. He's put out the wrong team yet again. Question is, can he pull this back? Because even a 1-1 isn't good enough today. Rangers are going to go out to Ibrox and they're going to win at least 3-0 against Livingston. That stretches the lead to 7 points if we can't bring this back.
I'm not going to say that he's put out the wrong team, but the team that he's put out have not done what you expect them what you would expect them to do. They haven't done what I expected at the start of the game. I expected the start of the game to be utterly chaotic, and it's one of these games that would get football stopped. It's a dreadful game of football, and we are contributing to this dreadful game of football.
You go back to Pittodrie last season. We're 4-0 up after 40 minutes. To the point where McInnes is racing down that tunnel because his job's on the line. We're going to be beating them 7 or 8-0 that day. Today, I'm looking at that Celtic side and I'm looking for inspiration. Ryan Christie chases every ball, creates, once again, virtually everything that we've created's come through Ryan Christie. I think Christie and Frimpong work well together, Kevin. I think Christie brings a lot of good out of Frimpong. But he doesn't have that dynamic nature, Frimpong, at the moment, where he's just taking the man on instinct without thinking. I think in Cham, it's maybe a bit harsh on Cham. Yeah, it was a bad bit of defending to give away the penalty, but I thought he played all right in the first half. Certainly nowhere near the worst performer. Rogic, totally anonymous. Totally anonymous.
You've got to have a look at the front three rather than Cham and McGregor. You've got to have the front four, really. Only Christie gets pass marked. The other ones there'd be as well in the amusements on Aberdeen Beach for all they've actually contributed. It's so frustrating, and you didn't want to see this absolutely ending. But sitting here at this precise moment in time, having a look at that Celtic bench, and we've got options on the bench. have the players and the management got the confidence in themselves to turn this round?
I don't have the confidence in them, Kevin. Ajeti isn't a lone striker. He's not hardly getting a touch of the ball. He's not a lone striker. So to combat that, what will we do at half time? Well, what you've got to do is you've got to take off either El Yunusi and Rogic, and at the moment it'd be Rogic because he's never kicked a ball. He's not contributed at all. And you've got to bring on a striker. That striker for me would be Griffiths, and you've got to play two up front because Ajeti, there's no doubt he's a quality striker, but he's not a lone striker, Kevin. You've got Ryan Christie backing up Frimpong. He's then doing the same job on the left. He's all over the park. El Yunusi, he's tried a few things to craft open chances, and he's on a different wavelength to Laxalt at times. And you've got to make that change. Do we have the personnel to win this game? Absolutely, I've been saying it again. But if you're not out there with the right game plan, and the correct changes aren't made, the correct team's not picked, that comes down to one man. Can he turn it around? We've seen him going up the tunnel there. He looks lost to me. He looks lost. Does he know how to turn this round? You said at the beginning of the game, we're back at Rugby Park, 3-0 down. 100%. Can we turn it round this time? And we need more than a draw today.
Of course we can turn it round. We've got 45 minutes to turn it round.
Based on that first half performance,
Based on
Kevin.
that first half performance, I'm going to say no. We will not turn it round, and we've gave Aberdeen what they want. They can just sit and defend for their lives now. So it's up to us to come with the answer. I says in the earlier broadcasts that I wanted the players to go out and give a performance for them rather than a performance for us, and they're not giving it. There's something completely missing with the Celtic side, and it's not as simple as changing a centre forward. It's not as simple as bringing on Scott Brown or bringing on David Turnbull. There's something completely missing. We're emotionless. And I've said that quite a few times. I like my Celtic teams to actually play with emotion. We're actually just playing like robots. There's nothing there. It seems like we've got dead eyes. Our eyes are dead and there's nothing behind us. And it's really, really quite... It's sore to watch. It is sore to watch, but... I'm going to actually dig deep and go, we've still got 45 minutes to turn round this game. Whether this 45 minutes is enough to turn round the season remains to be seen.
Well, even if we turn it round, Kevin, it's the same issues time and time again. It's the manager failing to get a tune out of a number of players. It's not just one or two players who are off form here. We're talking half a dozen. He's failing to get a tune out of them. Who is he getting a tune out of? About the only guy on that park that you can see digging in no matter what's Ryan Christie. He's been criticised this season, but everything creative that we do is channelled through Ryan Christie. Half time, a manager of tactical ability will be able to do something here. Will he do it? We've been seeing quite a lot of the messages coming in here for Griffiths and Turnbull to come on in the second half. I wouldn't argue with that. For two reasons. Ajeti needs a partner up front. He can't play as a lone striker. Absolutely no chance. So you bring on Griffiths there. Certainly do not bring on Klimala. And then the other change of Turnbull, that's because we've packed that midfield out, yet I've not seen anything at all to benefit us from doing that. You've got Rogic, who's just swanning about. He's barely kicked a ball. El Yunusi, everything he's tried hasn't come off. So you've got to make at least two changes. We both know it's not really in Lennon's makeup to do that generally, but he needs to do it now because his job's on the line.
Is it really that serious? Is his job on the line?
100%, Kevin. 100%. When you look at this season up to this point, I think it's as serious as that. We haven't lost 3 games back-to-back since 1994. That's how bad this is. And that's what we're facing today, unless Lenny turns this round at half-time.
I'm going to have a look at my own measurements, my own reckoning about this game. And I says before the game, I wanted us to attack this game and make it look like that we were getting up, make it look like we wanted this. That's
where the wind behind us as well, by the way. So we're against the wind, which is, you might think margins, we're against the wind in the second half.
We haven't shown anything. There's been nothing there. We've been flat. We've been terrible. We've still got 45 minutes. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to try.
You've been the eternal optimist here, Kevin.
I need to.
Celtic are in deep trouble at this moment in time.
We are in deep trouble.
And Neil Lennon's job is hanging in the balance.
We are in deep trouble, but I'm not denying we are in deep trouble if we repeat our first half performance. But I've seen enough football games to know that things can change with a decision, a break of the ball, an early goal, a goal at any point. So I'm not saying everything is dead, but it could the game could drift away for us quite quickly in the second half if we don't up it. But all is not lost for this game.
Well, Kevin,
I'm just more worried about.
This isn't just a knee-jerk reaction. We get called, the hysteria and all this kind of stuff comes out every time you criticise Celtic, every time you criticise a result, and people going about, oh, you're only one game away from a crisis at Celtic Park. This goes beyond a single result. This goes beyond a single performance. This has been the whole season. There's issues that have bled into this side throughout the whole season. There's guys out there who aren't playing as if they want to play for Celtic. And now that disappoints me as a Celtic fan, someone who put so much time and effort and belief and passion and everything else, like so many others, into this football club. And there's people out there who aren't playing for the jersey. Now, why is that? Now, it's nothing to do with the fact that they don't want to progress their own careers. Why would you go on a live game in Europe or against Rangers and underperform? Now, again, it comes down to the fact that they're not playing for the jersey because they're not being inspired, they're not set up properly for the games in terms of their shape or the actual personnel. Kenny Wilson makes a point here. He's tried just about every single player in the squad. He's thrown everything he can at it, except what needs to be done. So let's have a look at half-time. Let's see what the changes are that's made. And again, I'll take this on the chin if he turns it round at full time. But even then, I'm not convinced there isn't an issue.
If the first change is Scott Brown coming on, we're in trouble. If the coaching staff believe this game needs Scott Brown, we're in trouble.
Well, who does it need? What changes do you make? You've got 45 minutes to save your job. What do you do?
45 minutes to save.
It's an elevator question.
I bring on Turnbull and Griffiths. For Moy and Rogic.
Right. Okay, well, there's a question. And by the way, it's a half-time analysis, so we don't have as much time normally to go through the comments that are coming on. But a lot of people agree with that, Kevin. And we will be coming back to YouTube, Facebook and Twitter comments at full time. Hopefully Celtic will pull this round. And but as I say, Neil Lennon's jacket's hanging on a thread at the minute.
I'm not disagreeing there. If we end up losing this game, this is going to be carnage, real carnage. And it's only October, and we're already talking about us losing this league.
Well, it really is a realistic view rather than a pessimistic one. Let's go back to the action and we'll be back at full time. Thanks everybody for joining us, and thank you, Kevin, for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.